You've likely been told your whole life to be kind, generous, and compassionate. And let me be clear, those are beautiful values. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Kindness without discernment becomes a weakness, not a strength. Especially in your later years. Especially when your energy is finite. Your time is sacred. And your vulnerability increases day by day. If you don't grasp this now, if you continue living with the same open-hearted innocence you had at 25, you won't just get hurt emotionally. You could lose everything. And I'm not speaking in metaphors. I've seen this happen. To good people, smart people, people who assumed that because they were decent, others would be too. They were wrong. And they paid for it, with their health, their dignity, even their lives. So listen closely. In old age, you can't afford to trust everyone. You can't afford to be endlessly kind. That isn't nobility. That's recklessness disguised as virtue. You need to know who not to let in. Who to close the door on. Who not to offer your trust or compassion to. Not because kindness is wrong, but because misplaced kindness becomes self-betrayal. Let's talk about 5 types of people you must never trust. For the sake of your peace, your energy, and your future. Why misplaced kindness becomes dangerous spade suit. When you're young, you can recover from betrayals and broken trust. You have time to rebuild. But in old age, one mistake can cost you everything. One toxic person. One bad decision. And suddenly your health declines, your bank account is drained. And worst of all, your belief in humanity shatters. Let me begin with a real story. A man I knew, let's call him Richard, was kind to the core. He lived alone, a widower, until one day he met a younger woman who brought joy back into his life. She said all the right things. Made him feel important again, relevant. Within 6 months, he gave her access to his accounts. Helped with her business, even paid off her debts. 2 years later, she disappeared. She took everything. And Richard? He wasn't just broke, he was heartbroken. Ashamed. His generosity had been weaponized against him. Type 1, the manipulators you must guard against. If you're a senior living alone, you are a prime target. Not because you're weak, but because you're kind. Because you're trusting. And manipulators know exactly how to play that. They twist your emotions. They say things like, "After all I've done for you, this is how you treat me?" Or, "If you really cared, you'd help me." They use guilt as a leash. They make you feel like a villain for saying no. But don't be fooled. These people aren't here to support you. They're here to control you. They will gaslight you. And turn your final decades into a cycle of guilt, confusion, and regret. I once spoke to a 70-year-old woman whose adult daughter threatened to cut off access to her grandchildren unless she kept helping financially. Even though the daughter had a solid income. That's not love. That's emotional extortion wrapped in family ties. Draw the line, even if it hurts. Type 2, the victims who use guilt as currency. You'll recognize this type easily. Everything bad that happens is someone else's fault. They never take ownership, never take responsibility. At first, you'll feel sympathy. But soon, you'll see the pattern. They don't want solutions. They want pity. They want rescuing, over and over again. And you? You become the emotional sponge that absorbs their every crisis. If you refuse, they'll say you've changed. That you've grown cold. That you used to be such a kind person. That's how they keep you hooked. But what they're doing is draining you. Mentally, emotionally, even financially. Until you're left depleted, while they remain the same. Type 3, the opportunists who only come when they need something. These are the people who vanish when you're struggling, but show up when they need a favor, money, or a place to stay. They don't hate you, but they don't see you either. They see what you can do for them. Your kindness becomes a resource to exploit. Old age should be peaceful. A time to reflect, to rest, to enjoy what you've built. If your life feels like constant crisis management, you are being used. Not metaphorically. Literally. You have to put yourself first now, because no one else will. These opportunists will flatter you. Praise your wisdom, your big heart, your generosity. And before you realize it, you're co-signing a loan, writing checks, investing in their dreams. But when their plans fail, they disappear. And you're left to pick up the pieces. Type 4, the charmers with hidden agendas. These people are the most dangerous. Because they don't come to you with problems. They come with affection, warmth, and the ability to make you feel seen. Especially after years of feeling invisible. They tell you you're amazing, rare, generous. They appeal to your legacy, your wisdom. And slowly, they inch into your life. Not with malice, but with charm. They don't steal with force. They seduce you into giving. But once they have what they want, you'll find yourself sidelined, confused, betrayed. And here's the most important lesson. Not everyone who makes you feel good is good for you. Some people weaponize affection to win your trust. It's calculated. As you grow older, you must replace blind trust with mindful discernment. Ask yourself, what do they want from me? What's the pattern when I say no? What don't they talk about? Because predators don't wear masks anymore. They wear smiles. Type 5, the pretenders who disguise control as care. Then there's the most complex one. The person who appears to be caring, helpful, maybe even lives with you. But underneath, there's resentment. They might never say it directly. But their sighs, their rolled eyes, the way they speak about you to others. They carry a bitterness that spills out in subtle jabs and guilt trips. They'll make you feel like a burden. Even when you're not. This is psychological erosion. It chips away at your confidence, your joy, your right to peace. Just because someone helps you doesn't mean they're kind to you. You must pay attention not just to actions, but to tone, to patterns, to how you feel after interactions. Final word, you deserve peace, not exploitation. Dove. Letting someone into your home, your health decisions, your bank account, without understanding their emotional health or their intentions, is dangerous. Abuse in old age doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes, it comes from those closest to you. And it starts not with shouting, but with subtle manipulation. So trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. You've lived long enough to know that not everyone deserves your trust. Kindness is beautiful. But kindness without boundaries is a trap. Protect your energy. Guard your dignity. And never apologize for putting your peace first.